Andrew Urquhart with you on a Thursday morning, and it is, across the ditch, across the Tasman, our Australian correspondent, Dr Craig Heilmann. Craig, kia ora, good morning, thanks for your time.
Kia ora, Andrew. Great to see you, mate. Great to speak to you.
It is, some fun topics that we're going to be looking at today. Perhaps one which is always a bit controversial between New Zealanders and Australians, this exchange program that we've got, where we send you our police officers and nurses, and you send us, or your career criminals, the 501s, as it were. And that's back in the headlines in Australia once again.
Well, more information has come to light, and it turns out that, it won't surprise you, Andrew, the Australian government got outsmarted, and it got outsmarted by Jacinda Ardern.
Yeah.
This has now come to light, is that 2 days before she told us she was resigning, or told New Zealand she was resigning, she got a deal out of the Australians to stop returning 501
Wow.
criminals in Australia. And we're now discovering the realities of it, because what's happening is our immigration system is breaking down. It's breaking down because we changed our immigration laws around the 501s, or at least we changed the ministerial advice that was given to the panel that makes decisions about who gets to go home and who can stay.
Yep.
A little change was made largely around the 501s, and it's now affected several thousand other people who shouldn't be in Australia who are career criminals. And so this is blowing up in the newspapers. Our immigration problems have been blowing up all year and last year, but they're getting worse. And now the immigration minister, he's really under the pump. And so now they're going to change everything again.
Yeah.
But at the moment, it's a mess. And, good luck. At the moment, the 501s don't have to go back to New Zealand. And the little change they made, it's a very minor change. They made a change about one's relationship to Australia, how long they'd been here.
Yeah.
So if you came to Australia as a kid and you're a Kiwi, and you became a career criminal, they made the change that they couldn't send you back, or wouldn't send you back.
Were you criminalised in Australia or New Zealand, I suppose, is the key question. What concerns me a little bit, though, all it takes is another stroke of the pen, another change of government policy where they go, well, hey, not only are we going to change that law back again, but we've got a back catalogue. We've got these ones that we haven't sent back to you for a while, and they're all coming over. We're chartering several planes. They're all landing at an airport near you very soon. But hey, this could change again, I suppose.
Well, I think that's what I guess I'm flagging to you is Christopher Luxon may now have a problem, which is that it looks like the government is so embarrassed they're going to start unwinding this. So it's not impossible 501s is going to be flying the friendly airways again. So watch this space.
Certainly. And hey, something else was a little bit embarrassing. Head of ABC, describing Australia not as the lucky country, but as the racist country. I mean, some people might not disagree, Craig, but it's a bit rough coming from a media head.
Yeah, well, there are definitely racists everywhere, and there are certainly some in Australia, but I think it's a bit rough when a paid public broadcaster, and they're on the public purse, they're supposed to represent all sides of politics, and but they're head of news. Now, I wouldn't mind if it was the head of opinion, but the head of news has come out and said Australia's basically a racist country. Now, that tarnishes all of us. It tarnishes me included. I don't think of myself as a racist. I'm sure I could do better, but I don't think of myself that way, and I certainly try never to treat anybody differently. But she's tarred everybody with the same brush, and she's the head of news. Now, that's a problem, of course, because it again brings the ABC into the crosshairs all the time, because they just look political all the time. They don't look like they're there to report news. They look like they're there to cudgel us into another way of being and doing, and that's what it feels like to a lot of Australians. So the ABC is sort of tanking with their radio program, stuff that used to be core business for them. Nobody listens anymore because they've become so liberal and so woke.
I'm not sure there is a difference between head of news and head of opinion, particularly when it comes to the ABC.
No, that's right.
Perhaps they should change titles in that regard. Hey, wrapping things up, though, with a story, in your neck of the woods, Queensland's Anglican bishop and their view on climate change. Again, church politics and environmentalism all in one messy, tangled ball.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess the challenge of this story is we've got the new Anglican Archbishop going off to the Torres Strait Islands and saying, hey, there's global warming, we need to change things. It could go up 1.5 degrees, and isn't this terrible? Now, look, that is all terrible.
Yes.
The problem is it's a really bad look when your church is melting down. And the reality of the Anglican Church in Australia is it is melting down. So I wanted to let you know about an interview by the way, this was the ABC, funny enough. The ABC asked some questions sometimes. So they actually interviewed the Archbishop, and here's what they asked him. They said, what will you die in the ditch for? What's fundamentally important? And you could see, I think the ABC journalist must have smelled a rat at the new Bishop Jeremy Greaves said, at the heart of the Christian faith is really life-changing message about love and hope and justice.
Wow.
Well, I gather the ABC reporter went and said, how is that different from political ideology? That sounds like Marxism.
Wow.
They want love, hope, justice. What's the difference? I thought, good on the ABC journo for smelling a rat. That, in fact, religion had gone out the window and really social justice. Now, I'm not arguing that we shouldn't be worried about climate change, but I don't think church is melting down and your house, the house of your church is on fire. You should be thinking about preaching the gospel. And it sounds to me like the ABC journo had the same idea, that maybe you should focus on preaching the gospel, and maybe the social justice stuff, well, that's ancillary and part of it, but maybe that's not the whole.
And how often, honestly, in any secular media, does the church get an open shot to say, hey, this is our values, this is what's important to us, and really to drop the ball on that one? It seems it's not just the polar ice caps that are melting. It's the Anglican Church in Australia, but at least the rising seawater will put out the house fire.
I don't know whether to call what's going on with Anglicans a global warming or a global frosting, but it's something.
Hey, interesting times across the Tasman. Craig, appreciate you bringing us these stories and more. Thanks very much for being on the program today.
God bless you, brother. Great to see you again.
Hey, thanks very much for joining us in the Rhema studio. Thanks very much for watching the interview. It's kind of nice to have an audience, actually. And if you did like what you watched, then do give us a like, do give us the thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more interviews like that one, or perhaps even better, subscribe and those interviews will come straight to you. Don't forget to turn on your notifications, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.